You know what? Jersey number 7 in the world of football is a significant and iconic number. Yes, Cristiano Ronaldo, Cantona, George Best, Eden Hazard in Real Madrid these days, and of course Raul Gonzalez were some of the finest players who ever donned the jersey number 7. So let's say it's a safe and special number. Yes, that's why today's edition of Fanbase is special, because it's the 7th consecutive edition of Fanbase. We want to thank you very much for being with us from this journey. Babajide Guerrero is my name. I am your host as usual, Kai, and it's a gift that keeps giving. My guest today is special. She's beautiful. It's safe to call her the first lady of Fanbase, because it's the very first time we have a lady analyst, and my oh my am I excited. So come along now, let's meet my guest. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be Fatil on the show today. It's our own edition of Fanbase. First lady of Fanbase. I've been looking to have a woman on the show, and trust me when I say Fatil is one of the best sports minds in this country. So yes, we're going to have a thriller of a conversation. Join us after this. All right, guys, it's good to have you join us again for another freshly made edition of Fanbase. It's week 8 of the English Premier League. I don't care, that's the best league in the world. Fatil, you agree, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best. And by the way, Fatil is a staunch Chelsea fan. We'll talk about that very shortly.
Yeah. Let's start with Chelsea already.
Go ahead. Go right ahead.
No.
Your team?
It's your show.
Oh, well, it's our show. It's Fanbase. It's really our show. Let's talk about Chelsea. At the beginning of Frank Lampard's era as Chelsea manager, a lot of people didn't feel he was the one. But these days, it's looking like a Chelsea manager through and through. The players are believing in him. They are playing for him. The fact that Chelsea had no significant business in the transfer window and is doing quite well so far. I think he's done pretty well so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually really good that he has started in this light, although the first game of the season didn't go well enough. And one of those people who were really skeptical about his performance as a Chelsea coach. I thought perhaps he's not experienced enough. Yeah, and Chelsea is not a place for you to start learning on the job, as you can see. And well, now 8 games so far. Well, it's not bad at all. The team, they're gelling, new players, young players, and these young players are not just playing as young players. They are actually playing to stay in the team.
Absolutely.
And they are playing well. They are gelling well. They're scoring goals. Tammy Abraham. I mean,
are you a fan?
Well, I am a fan. He's a Chelsea player. He has knocked in a lot of goals already. 12 goals away goals for Chelsea already this season. I mean, that is massive. And the old guards too, like as Pliqueta is, well, maybe on and off, but the team is doing well now.
But did you see them going all the way to the Saints and getting 4-1 victory? That's a lot of victory. And you guys also went to the Molineux and scored 5. That's a lot of goals coming.
Yeah, and if you look at it, many people say, "Oh, yeah, it's just a lower third team that they are playing. They're scoring up plenty." But I differ really, because when they lose, we still have the defense problem, and when they lose with maybe perhaps 2 or 3 goals. But when they win well. They score a lot of goals. You see that if Tammy Abraham is not scoring, Mason Mount is there. And then Michy Batshuayi, when he comes on, he scores like he did over the weekend. So I think Chelsea now have variation. They have a lot of players to call upon just when they need those goals. And I think it's good to the eye, really.
It is. It's pleasant to the eye. They play like a Frank Lampard. Sometimes football coaches try to model their teams just like themselves when they were playing.
And Frank Lampard is almost mechanical.
Absolutely.
Like, it's not as if he doesn't have skills or he's not finesse enough, but he's efficient, he's effective, he's an hard worker. Like, he works hard, and when you put all that together and you have a little bit of luck, just drop on it, and well, what you have is magic, and that is what Chelsea are doing right now. I just hope they continue in this stead.
It's the 4th consecutive game week where we see a team score 5 or more goals. The first time we saw it was in the 4th week ago, where Chelsea scored 5 at the Molineux, like I said. City scoring 8 against Watford. Leicester City scoring 5 against Newcastle and last week. And meanwhile, Aston Villa winning Norwich 5-1. So we take a look quickly at other games. Right now, City played at home to Wolves. Let's talk about that game.
I mean, that's a shocking game. That was a shocking
I
game.
I doubt you to probably show me you saw that coming. I don't think anybody
That
in the
was
world
the
saw that
shocker
coming.
of the week. I mean,
Maybe of the season.
Well, because I wasn't expecting, even if Man City was going to, they were going to fall to any team. Wolves, I never saw that Wolves will come close. Maybe probably a draw of some sort, but 2 lightning goals. Man, I never expected it.
The first goal came in at the 80th minute.
Yeah.
Adama Traore. Same player, almost the same position.
Same assist. Same
Yeah,
person who,
Jimenez.
yeah,
Yeah,
same
Raul.
person who assisted the first goal,
Raul.
did the second one, and the same goal scorer, Adama Traore. He was all in the faces of Man City's defense. Wolves, they were so dogged, and once they knew that there was a flaw in Man City's defense, they just went all out, and well, they suffered for it. That's Man City. And
is that a problem these days? I mean, you look at the back end of Man City, the only senior defender was caught napping. That was Nicolas Otamendi. And Fernandinho, again, I keep saying this, Fatil, to everybody that cares to listen. Being a defensive midfielder, being a center forward, doesn't mean you have the skill set to play in other departments. So in a way, Pep has been able to achieve it against other teams, but not against Espirito. Espirito probably just played Adama Traore off. Because that second goal had Adama, and in football, you can never be offside in your own half. That pass came in from his own half. He timed that run and then he took it. My problem with City is once they are injured, once the top players are injured, there's really nothing else.
Yeah, because I think these
Especially
other
at the back line.
players,
Yeah.
I think these other players ride the luck or the skill set of these huge players, like that of De Bruyne. Once De Bruyne is not there, you see that Bernardo Silva or David Silva, they lack that firepower going forward. Bernardo Silva cannot do everything at once. The guy is also hardworking and skillful.
You a fan?
Of Bernardo, fantastic guy. I mean, I'll pick him up anytime. If I play fantasy football, I'll pick him anytime.
Okay.
But and also the team coach also has to believe that once a big player is out, you need to make do of the ones you have. You can't always go to the market to replace an injured player. Once Mendy got injured, you were already hearing Pep saying that he needs to go to the market. Once De Bruyne is complaining about a small backache, you hear Pep saying that he needs to buy. So I think it's because of he has so much money in his disposal. But at the same time, he has a lot of players in his disposal. So he has to work with it. Absolutely. He's someone like Frank Lampard will be smiling if he has such
an arsenal of players.
Yeah,
absolutely.
so I think Pep and his players, they need to wake up.
Yeah, indeed. Because now Liverpool have full value for Theo. 8 games, 24 points. It's a tremendous way to start the season. You can see what that penalty by Milner, what he meant to Klopp and the entire fans. They knew it that they have City. City don't look them on the shoulder like this, and they just have to do their job. But aside from doing their job, Brighton and Wolves also did a good job against Spurs. We didn't see that coming. That's another surprise of the weekend. What exactly is going on with Spurs? What is wrong with Poch? What's wrong with Eriksen? We hear a gist, maybe it's a rumor, and there's a bit of affair issue.
Friction, yeah. And the players who are actually doing the work are getting less pay. So there's rumor that there's some kind of friction and a loud undertone that the players are not happy and the coach also is under pressure. So, unlike...
You like Poch?
Well, I used to, but I think
Then you fell out of love with him.
Overhyped.
Rated. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's overhyped.
He's not all that after all.
Yeah, he's not all that. I don't think he's a bad coach. He's okay.
Yeah.
He's okay. But for Tottenham, you know, typical Tottenham is that once they're down, it's very difficult for them to start up again. Once their back is at the wall, it's very difficult for them to just spring themselves back to life, which is what is happening to them right now. I don't think they've won up to 4 games in the league this season.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've seen them time and time again. Once they lose 2 or 3 games, from then on,
to
get back is always difficult. So I think they're just bottlers that like they are. So I think that's what is happening. Someone called them rotten tomatoes. I think that's exactly what is happening.
So they're talking about bottling. Before we go on to me talking about FPL shortly, do you think Liverpool will bottle this? Do you think they will bottle this?
Well, it's a very tricky question.
But deep down my gut, I feel Liverpool is a very funny side.
I mean, it's a very tricky question. If you ask me, this is just 8 games into the season. Yes, I like where they are. They are winning.
30 more.
Yeah, like there are 30 more games to go. I think it's better to be at this position at the beginning of the season than for you to be like 8 points behind Man City. So, if you can gain as much ground as you can at the beginning of the season, just grab it with all hands, because you don't know what will happen in November, December, when little injuries start creeping in. You have the heavy fixtures coming in and all of that. So, let them just grab as much points as possible. You don't know when Man City will wake up, because I just think this is like a phase for Man City. At some point, Pep's some sort of genius may wake up, and his players as well. You
don't rate him that much?
Well,
Pep.
He's an amazing coach. He's good.
But you're a Mourinho girl.
Yeah, but no. The thing is, I respect Mourinho. Mourinho is perhaps one of the greatest, like everybody knows. But Pep is also well there. It's just that people have their reservation about his style or his beliefs. Maybe people hype him too much because of his laurels that he got over there in Barcelona, which he couldn't replicate when he went to Bayern. And now he has come to the English Premier League. And he's actually, aside the Champions League debacle that he usually has, he hasn't done badly for himself and the club. So, yeah.
It's okay. We've been talking with Fatil, and trust me, man, I don't want to leave this chair anytime soon. I feel like probably just move into our house, because the conversation is really, really juicy. And we're hoping you guys are enjoying it as well. So do also subscribe if you like this content. The idea is for you to also join our conversation on the Nihu fan base, of course, on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, our own fan base code for our FPL is still there. So do also join. Do also be part of the, maybe 30, 32 players that we have right now. So let's go over for a break, and when we return, it's time for me to talk about the FPL, what happened this week, which player to look out for. There is no game this week. It's all international friendlies and international games. And Fatil and I will be doing a jig on that shortly. I will talk about the previews of 2 games and, of course, predictions as well. We'll be right back after this. We continue what has been a very good conversation here so far. Of course, Fatil doesn't like FPL. I don't know why. Or maybe she just said she plays the game, on Saturdays and play the game on the football pitches. So why should I bother to play, a virtual game? But not to worry, for the guys who are on our FPL code, this is time for us to, bring out our phones and, of course, have a conversation on FPL. So the highest point earning player this week was Doherty, the defender for Wolves, got 15 points. Meanwhile, Joshua King of Bournemouth got 12, and as well as Jamie Vardy. Remember, no player has been able to amass so much points more than Kevin De Bruyne so far. But that's going to be a very, very big challenge, because a lot of people have transferred De Bruyne out, transferred him out last week because he had an injury. Meanwhile, this particular week saw a lot of people transferring Pukki, including me. I'm going to transfer him out. Terrible. He landed for me last week, and he is still doing so again this week. And Mohamed Salah has also been transferred out. A lot of people are still captaining Mo Salah. But the go-to man these days for points has to be Tammy Abraham. Absolutely phenomenal season he's having so far. Top of the pile in terms of goal scoring. A lot of people are transferring him. Top transfer this season, as well as Chelsea's Mason Mount. I tell you what, Mason Mount is the highest transferred player, is the top transfer player in this forthcoming game week. Everybody's looking forward to having him. And meanwhile, everybody are doing their best to also not have the likes of Sterling. This is because of the rotation policy. Like Fatil earlier mentioned, some of the beliefs of the man Pep Guardiola. So maybe Guardiola doesn't play FPL. Maybe he forgets that some people are actually waiting on his selection, every time. But not to worry. We're looking forward to what this particular week will be like. Well, for me, I had a very, very, should I say, sad week in FPL. I went to Lano FC, actually. I went to the lowest of lows. Never in my FPL career have I had it bad like this. Yeah, so my enemies or my village people currently laughing at me. No problems. I'll bounce back. I always do. But it was a terrible week for me, guys. And still on the FPL matter, the guy topping our table is still the bounty hunter. It seems to be that guy that really just can't stop winning. I dropped from, in my own league, in my own fantasy league, I dropped from number 3 to number 6. Oh, Jamila Raje is paining me. But hey, like I said, I always bounce back. Bounty Hunter, I'm coming for you. You had 54 points this week. That's the highest points in. This week was a terrible week for everybody, but you still managed to have 54 points. YOLO FC is still in a distant second with 44 points and 351 points. And Sir Brain of Marks, that happened to be all the top 3 that we have. And Babajide Guerrero is right there in 6th position. I only mention myself because I'm the presenter of the show. Yeah, if I don't mention myself, who will? 32, 31, and 30 happen to be Gentle Soul FC, Airball FC, and of course, Team Texas still at the bottom of the table. So yeah, this week looks to be quite good and quite better. I had 31 points. The average was 36. The highest was 100. A guy using a triple captain. But it was a terrible week for me, like I said. 31 points. David De Gea, I went to believe that he won't concede against Newcastle. Guess what? He conceded. And then Nick Pope didn't concede, my second goalkeeper. He had 7 points, but he's on the bench. Temo Pukki was my vice captain, and he lost. He had just 1 point. Sergio Hunawero was my captain. He lost. He had just 4 points. It was a terrible week for me. In fact, the highest player that had the highest number of points for me was Chelsea's Mason Mount. He had 7 points. Of course, he scored a very beautiful goal right there. So I hope to have a better week. I also need that international break. I got to re-strategize. Guys, please do what to re-strategize. Make sure you get on top of our own fantasy football field. And of course, do what to enjoy. It's going to be a very brilliant match week 9 and 10 going forward. We'll be right back for the last and final piece of what has been a spectacular football talk show. And this one will be for the prediction and preview. Remember, there is no Premier League this week. It's all about internationals. It's all about qualifiers. It's all about friendlies. Let's get friendly. We'll be right back. It's where we drop the curtain on today's edition of Fanbase. And of course, remember, it's time to talk about the preview and predictions. If you like this content, so how about you click that subscribe button? Yes, that one. And then at the same time, you follow us on all our social media platforms for more content on Fanbase. So let's talk about international break and the friendlies now. Okay, so from a Nigerian angle, Nigeria will be playing Brazil. The last time we saw a game that was very, very interesting, apart from the one that they used to launch at Abuja Stadium, which is now a dead stadium now. Yeah, it's that 96, Atlanta 96. Nigeria, Brazil, and then Kanu Nwankwo with the old skill and all. But before that, let's talk about England now. Let's talk about the beat of England. Nigerian-born, I think that's what we're saying now. Did you feel?
I think Nigerian-born. I think they are players of Nigerian descent.
Okay, I think, yeah, that's a good way. Yeah, nice. That's a better way to put it. Players of Nigerian descent, Fikayo Tomori and Tammy Abraham. In a way, got called up by Gary Sagi. That guy is a wicked. If I catch that guy, because in my head, I have a feeling.
The guy was sharper.
Yeah, in a way, I don't think. I'm sorry, but guys, it's not as if I'm being a bad Nigerian or something. But I think for me, it's just being realistic. Tammy Abraham, Fatiu, I'm not sure will bench Harry Kane. I'm not sure he will bench Jamie Vardy. I'm not sure he will come ahead of Marcus Rashford for an English team. I'm not sure. Am I wrong or wrong?
Well, you know that the English like to ride on the latest thing in vogue. Like you always hear of hype of a player doing so well, they scored 10 goals and all of that. So they always like to bring those sort of people into the system, even though they're already in the system. Tammy Abraham, as far as I know, is as English as it can get. And Fikayo Tomori, I read something this morning saying that he gave it a lot of thought. He was expecting some sort of reach from
The NFF.
The NFF boy, he didn't come or something. So I think we should just leave these guys. Let them be. We can't bring...
wish you the best.
Yeah, I wasn't pained about Tammy Abraham. I was a bit pained about Fikayo Tomor. Fikayo is an amazing player. He has established himself some sort. He needs a lot of work, but still, starting off this season, he has done so well. He's amazing at the back for Chelsea, and well,
You can only wish them the best.
Yeah,
true.
And I hope, and you saying that perhaps maybe Southgate intentionally did that. Well, if you have something in that, something like that,
you pin it down.
I mean, you also like good things, don't you? And you also want to win.
True.
Southgate wants to win, and he wants to put up enough Arsenal for himself.
Don't worry, Southgate. I won't catch you anymore. I forgive you. But I mean, all the best to our boys, to the boys, Tammy and the Fikayo.
We should pick players from the MPFL.
Hopefully, we hope we get to that level where
MPFL that they
we
cannot
don't even know where
win
we're going to
Togo.
start. You don't even know where the league itself will start.
Oh,
It's quite challenging.
Yeah.
But Nigeria will play Brazil at the Singapore Stadium. That game looks to be like the game where the likes of the Neymar, the Firmino, the Coutinhos will come through. And Nigeria these days have like a plethora of significant talent coming through as well.
Yeah, I mean, and also the friendlies that we're getting these days. Didn't we play Ukraine some point? The last international break?
Absolutely.
I mean, we're getting Brazil now. We should be happy. Some people were not happy. I mean, we're playing the top of the top. So I think it's amazing, and it's the way to go for Nigerian football as it is.
Okay, so I want you to put a number on it, yeah? Nigeria, Brazil.
Against Brazil.
Yeah.
In the last 3 games, according to stats, we haven't won. The most we got was a draw. I don't know. But I think it's going to be very, very cagey. Yeah. But they will beat us, yeah. I also hope it will not be too much. Just for the sake of we living a whole continent and going to Singapore to play. Let's just say maybe 1-0.
All right, so 1-0. Well, I think, I don't know. I don't want to be Nigerian, but the truth is, I actually think Brazil would win. But
of course, Brazil will win. Sorry,
maybe 2 goals to 1. Maybe Nigeria to score again. Just to
who will score?
Points. Maybe Osimhen, because the truth is, we can't go all the way to Singapore and
not come back with 1 goal.
Exactly.
With all that is happening,
we have to get.
But I think we are not having a very smooth ride this period. So I think they will beat us. We may not even get a goal. I am just being Nigerian. Yeah, because they just be Super Falcons out of the Olympics. Yeah. The league has not started. So I think it will continue. They'll beat us. Maybe we will not get to score. Maybe 1-0 or 2-0.
Now this next fixture on Fatiu's mind has a lot of juice in it. It's Germany versus Argentina.
I mean, that's
and off camera you
game.
Said something about Argentina.
I didn't say it.
You know when you said it, it cracked me up. I'm like, what? She said, what did you say?
No, I've forgotten, yeah.
Okay, she's forgotten. Okay, so moving on. I'm sure you roll it in your conversation somewhere. So I'm listening. So Germany, Argentina.
Oh, that is a juicy, like you rightly said. It's really, I'm beginning to look in there like, oh, are you sure this is not a World Cup game or some sort? Germany, Argentina, Messi is not playing.
Still banned.
Still banned 3 months. Who else is out of that? And yet the Maria is not there. But we still have some players who can actually come to the park.
Absolutely.
But you know. Okay, let me see what I said.
Nice. Go ahead. In 3.
But you know, Argentina are always unlucky. Like, even in friendlies, they are so unlucky. So
they didn't eat out of
let me just continue with that they will fall to Germany. Who are always compact. Ter Stegen is going to be in between the sticks this time around.
A lot
of scandal between him and Manu Neuer.
He's a better goalkeeper these days.
Well, yeah. So let's see against Germany.
Numbers?
I said 3-2.
3-2.
I'm still sticking to that because they have to score. Yeah.
So I'm thinking that Germany would win. I think maybe 2-1, and maybe not. Because they may want to keep their goals because they still play Estonia 4 days from now, and of course they will definitely defeat Estonia.
And that's a qualifier. So
it is a qualifier. It's a big game, and it's been a big conversation. It's been a big time out. It's been a big fun we've had here so far with my girl Fatil.
Yeah, I'm your girl.
And Fatil is the first lady. She's the first lady on Fanbase, and it gives me so much excitement. So thank you so very much, girl. Two knuckle up for you.
Yay!
Thank you. All right, guys, we will look forward to you clicking that subscription button, and as well as continuing the conversation here on Fanbase. It's been absolutely pleasurable to have you join me, Babajide Guerrero, for another edition of Fanbase. Please remember to join our Fantasy Premier League. That's the code right there. 9 days, it is scroll past your screen. So do well to join. We'll be seeing you again next week. Till then, remember, this is Fanbase. This is your base. Bye for now.